Hello guys, this is Modest Major here, bringing you some commentary over some 25 and 0 capture the flag gameplay. It's on the map Abandon. I have no idea why I haven't posted this gameplay yet, because it's actually one of my better ones. It's pretty fast paced, it has a really nice start to the game. Trails off a tiny bit towards the end, but it's still pretty much worth watching for the most part. I was going to post a 55 and 2 today, which was one of my better scores. If it wasn't for the fact that I got a 65 and 1, that would be my best score of all time. But unfortunately, I was watching the gameplay over, and it was one of the most boring, tragic things I've ever witnessed in my entire life. The problem is, when you get scores like that, it's usually a given that you're playing players who have about 2 brain cells that they can scratch together, and they have no idea, no comprehension of map movement, where they need to be going, where their team are. They're that bad, so they're not going to the right area, so you're just constantly trying to sniff them out, and it makes for a boring spectator experience, in my opinion. Whereas this one is pretty, you know, balls to the walls, pretty fast-paced. I'm usually always in action for the most part, so I hope you guys enjoy that. Now, I had a topic I kind of wanted to talk about, and it's regarding gameplay. Kind of a tip-based video, but I don't want to say tip video, because I never do tip videos, and this isn't really one either. It's more to do with state of mind within the game. Because obviously, Halo especially, state of mind is a very big component to your success. Whether you are, you know, you're calm enough, whether you're not raging enough, you definitely don't want to be in an angry state of mind when you're playing this game, because you'll just get frustrated with yourself, frustrated with your teammates, and you'll start making more and more mistakes as a result. And then there's other problems like not taking the game seriously enough, not, you know, giving it the right amount of detail and concentration, not capping the right flags, not doing this. I mean, Halo is a game that I hate to play when I'm tired, because I just know that I'm not going to perform well enough. But the state of mind I wanted to talk about in particular today is regarding anxiety within the game. And you're probably thinking anxiety is a bit strong of a word, and it kind of is. But what I basically mean is like the jitters in game. You know what I mean? It's like a player looks like he just hasn't played this game long enough to be able to just calm down. And I've even seen players who have played for a long time get really, really overwhelmed easily. They lose their cool very quickly. And it's something that's really, really bad to have. And kind of a real-life example I would like to give is that, let's say you have a suicidal guy. He's depressed, and he wants to, you know, he's ready to end himself. And when you're in this anxious state of mind, when you are, you know, you're depressed, you're at the brink of your life, you don't want to be listening to any of the decisions that you're making. That's what people always say to suicidal or depressed people. Like, dude, just calm down. You need to think this through when you're actually in a better state of mind, because right now, you know, your first instinct is to take the easy way out. And I think, in a sense, like, it leads them to make quick decisions, and they just want to get rid of the problem as quickly as possible. They just can't deal with it. It's like, no, I don't want to be in this state of mind. I don't want to be as unhappy as I am right now. Get me out of this, you know, type thing. And it's desperation, and that's something that can be implied to the Halo game as well. When you're in a desperate state of mind, when you want to get out of the situation as quickly as possible, it leads you to make quick decisions when you're not actually thinking with your brain, you're not thinking strategically, you are making the decisions by instinct. And sometimes your instinct isn't always right. Your brain always needs to make a decision codependent to that as well. You can't just go, oh, I'm going to throw sticky grenades as quickly as I can. I'm going to try and aim for his head as quickly as I can, but then your aim goes off because you're so flustered and overwhelmed. And it's quite hard to just say, calm down. It's quite hard to just, you know, you can't just choose to be less anxious or choose to be less, I don't know what the word is for, less overthinking. You need to, it's hard to get yourself to slow down and actually think through the situation, but it's something that needs to be done. And I suppose the way in which I try and keep my head on a swivel, is I just constantly play aggressively. That's my way of doing it, and it's a tip that I would give to other players. If you are having trouble with this problem that I'm talking about, like you get overwhelmed easily, you get a sniper rifle, for example, and you know, people are constantly rushing into your face, and you find yourself always losing that sniper, or always losing those power weapons, or making mistakes with the shotgun, you kind of just have to get yourself in a custom game and put yourself in the most aggressive situations possible. Constantly rush and constantly put yourself in a bad you know, position, so that you have to learn to find ways to deal with it if that situation ever arises in matchmaking. Because I think what some players' counter tactic towards that jitter or that anxiety is that they stay back and play more defensively, but they have an over-reliance on that defensive role. And I'm not saying players shouldn't play defensively from time to time. You know, obviously when you get better and you're improving at the game, there's some players who will only ever play the support role, but at the same time that support role still needs to have some level of clear-headedness when players are rushing them. They need to be able to deal with that situation, or otherwise they're just going to be giving far too many deaths to the enemy team, and it's not something your team can really cope with. And I think I watched a commentary the other day, and I can't quite remember who it was by, but I'll try and leave a link in the description. And they were basically saying that if you're an aggressive player, it was Toast Bomb, that was it, Toast Bomb Halo. And he said if you're an aggressive player, try putting yourself into more defensive situations, so you learn how to play in that frame of mind, so you learn how to like start thinking situations through and maybe make strategic decisions that you wouldn't normally make. And then on the flip side of that, there's, you know, more defensive, more strategic players who need to every so often take an aggressive stance and try and see how they can best equip themselves to rush and play aggressively when they need to. Because I think in order to become the ultimate player and, you know, become the best player that you physically can be, you need to do a bit of both. You need to be the jack of all trades. You need to be able to rush when you need to, take that flag when you need to, play that objective when you need to, but you also need to be able to support your team when you need to, and try and make the distinction between both. You need to be able to play both and know when to play each role. And, you know, that's just the overall... It's a bit of a ramble, that one, but I hope you guys gathered something from it. I've been Modest Major. Hope you guys enjoyed watching the gameplay. Peace out.